Hey guys, I'm John Setzler. Welcome back to Man Cave Meals. We're going to do another installment of my bread series today. I'm going to teach you how to make some really awesome homemade bagels. So let's get started. The first thing I want to do to get my bagel dough together is I've got my sugar, which is 23 grams of sugar in a measuring cup, and I've got 285 grams of lukewarm water that I measured out at about 100 degrees Fahrenheit roughly. I'm going to stir that sugar in to dissolve in that water, and then I'm going to dump my yeast in. I've got about 8 grams of instant yeast here, and we're going to give that 10 or 15 minutes to bloom. And while that yeast is blooming, I'm going to start my dry ingredients together. I've got 500 grams of bread flour that I'm just going to dump in the bowl of my stand mixer. And I've got 9 grams of kosher salt. And I'm just going to give that a mix. And we're going to put this on the mixer. And that's what your yeast should look like when it's proofed and ready to go. So we're going to get started mixing. So I'm going to turn my mixer on slow, and I'm going to drizzle my yeast and sugar water into this, and I'm going to let the mixer run on slow like that until this dough has come together as just a shaggy mass. And when that dough looks about like that, I'm going to stop the mixer and I'm going to let that dough rest for 20 minutes. And after I've given that 20 minutes or so to rest, we're going to knead it at a slow speed on the KitchenAid for about 10 minutes. And after this has been going about 10 minutes, you're going to have a nice, tight, smooth ball of dough here, and it's going to be pulling away cleanly from the sides of the bowl. So we're just going to take that out. And I'm just going to take that dough and kind of form it into a tight dough ball, and we're going to roll it around in my greased bowl and get the outside of it coated. I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to coat that I'm going to cover that bowl with plastic, and we're going to let that rise for at least an hour or until it doubles up in size. And after about an hour and 15 minutes, my dough looks amazing. Look at that. That's a nice, happy, more than doubled in size dough. So the first thing I'm going to do here is we're going to punch that down, and I'm going to roll it out here onto my work surface. And the first thing I need to do with this is divide it out into 8 relatively equal pieces. And in order to do that, I want to kind of shape this into a fairly even log, and then I'm just going to split it in the middle to get 2, and then I like to shape that one again a little bit, split it down the middle for 2 more, and then split our other. And then each of these leftover pieces, we just cut these in half. If you want to scale these, you're looking for about 110 grams a piece for a relatively equal size. They don't have to be perfect. So no matter how you do it, we're looking for 8 pieces. So the next thing I'm going to do is ball these, and this technique works pretty good, especially if you're on a pastry mat. I just put my fingers over the top of these and kind of push down on it lightly and go in a circle, and you can kind of feel the dough ball moving the opposite direction underneath your hand, and you want a nice round ball just like that. And we're going to do that with each of these. So now that I've got these balled up, I've transferred them over to a half sheet that I've lined with parchment paper. And the next thing I want to do is kind of flatten these out just a little bit, about like that. And then I'm going to cover these with a towel and we're going to let those rise for another 30 minutes. While that dough's rising, I've got about 3 quarts of water here in a Dutch oven that I want to get going to a heavy simmer, and we are going to also preheat our oven to 425 degrees. As our water starts to heat up, I've got a tablespoon and a half of sugar, I've got 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1 tablespoon of baking soda that I want to get in there, and we want to stir that in and get that completely dissolved in there as well. The next thing we have to do here is shape our dough balls into bagels. So I'm going to flour my hand a little bit. I'm going to pick this guy up just like that, and with my index finger and thumb I am going to punch a hole through the middle of that where I can get 2 fingers in there, and then we're just going to roll this guy out about like that, and we're going to come down through here and do all of these that way. And this is about what these are going to look like when they're done. They don't have to be perfect because they're going to rise a little bit more and they're going to puff up when we put these in the oven. But I am also not going to put 8 of these on this half sheet when I go to the oven. I'm going to put 6 of them on there, and I'm going to put 2 of them on a separate quarter sheet that are lined with parchment paper here, and I'm going to have an egg wash ready to go also, because I'm going to use an egg wash to top these, and we're going to put some everything bagel on there. My water's up to a simmer now, so I'm going to drop these bagels in, and we're going to give these guys about a minute on each side. I'm going to put them in here 3 at a time, and after a minute I'm going to come in here and flip each one of these and let these go for another minute. And then I'm going to dip these guys out with my spider, and I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of these bagels the same way, and then we'll be right back. Okay, now that I've got all those out of the bath, the next thing I'm going to do is hit these guys with an egg wash. And what I've done is I've taken 1 egg and added about 1 or 1.5 tablespoons of cold water, and I've just took a small whisk and beat that until it was just nice and smooth. And I'm going to hit the tops of each of these bagels with a dose of this. And here's where you can do whatever you want to do with your bagels. I'm going to top mine with some of this Trader Joe's everything but the bagel seasoning blend. And then we're going to pop these guys in our oven that's been preheating at 425 for 20 minutes, and then we'll be back to have a look. And after 20 minutes of magic in the heat, this is what these guys look like. We're going to let these guys cool. They're extremely hot, and then we'll have a closer look. Okay guys, I've let these cool, and I've taken my knife and I've just sliced one of these open where you can get a look at the crumb inside there. These things are beautiful. They taste amazing. You have to just toast these guys up and put some of your favorite schmear on them. Give these a try. They're easy to make. Let me know what you think. Until next time, this is John Setzler with Man Cave News.